So the first thing I'll talk about is just the government shutdown, the SNAP benefits, how that's going to be affecting a lot of people in a few days. So maybe they'll get their act together, or maybe they'll come to an agreement, the government, and this won't go through. But regardless, I'm talking as if it's going to happen. And even if it doesn't happen, if you feel a little bit anxious, then that's a sign that you need to do something with your financial situation. You should always be in a position where no matter what politicians do, you're always going to be in a good space. So that's the first topic, and then the housing crisis that's going on. Houses are really expensive. Expensive. It's still like almost $500,000 to get a starter home or your first home. That's the average um, uh, price tag on the market right now. So that sucks. Then um, we got topic three. Oh yeah, a lot of mass layoffs, job security. AI is definitely contributing to that. What can you do so that you put yourself in a better position? All about solutions and figuring out how to move forward because this is happening now. Hey, it's you gotta do things differently. And then what else I got? Amazon layoffs. So Amazon layoffs just occurred. So they're going to be restructuring and doing all that and uh, attributed to AI. So we'll read some articles, or we'll read a article, and then I'll talk about that. And then the last one is what's going on in New York with Zoran Mamdani. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Him being the Democrat socialist. If you haven't heard about him, then maybe it really doesn't affect you. But if you're like into politics, you're following a lot of different races that are happening right now, then you're definitely curious to see what happens in that situation. So I'll briefly talk about that. So let's get into it. So the first thing that's going on, the biggest thing that's happening, is the government shutdown and the SNAP benefits. So let me switch this over. Okay.
Not all tobacco products are the same.
Uh-oh.
General
Why is
Snus
this
has found.
playing sound? This never plays sound. Anyways, this is coming from the AP News. Trump administration post notice that no federal food aid will go out November 1st. So right now, it's October 29th. So hey, it's getting pretty tight. Let's see what they say. So the U.S. Department of Agriculture has posted a notice on its website saying federal food aid will not go out November 1st, raising the stakes for families nationwide as this government shutdown drags on. The new notice comes after the Trump administration said it would not tap roughly $5 billion in contingency funds to keep benefits through the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, commonly referred to as SNAP, flowing into November. That program helps about 1 in 8 Americans buy groceries. Bottom line, the well has run dry. The USDA notice says at this time there will be no benefits issued November 1st. We are approaching an inflection point for Senate Democrats. The shutdown, which began October 1st, is now the second largest on record, while the Republican administration took steps leading up to the shutdown to ensure SNAP benefits were paid this month. The cutoff would expand the impact of the impasse to a wider swath of Americans and some of those most in need, unless a political resolution is just found in a few days. And then this is just the administration blames the Democrats, politics right there, and there you go. So that's basically what's going on. You can always, this is apnews.com. You can always search this stuff, but that's basically what's going on. So I want to give, from what I've been seeing online and what people are saying, uh, basically a lot of people just think it's a political theater, and it's just the Democrats and Republicans going back and forth, which is understandable. I don't want to get too much into politics. There's a lot of channels that talk about the politics. I'm just trying to put out what's going on, that information that's happening right now with the shutdown. If you haven't heard, if you're not into politics like that, and just kind of tell you what you can do if you're in a situation, or even if you're not. All you got to do is look at the people that are really concerned. Like there's already food lines, or what do you call it? People waiting in front of those food assistant organizations for food, and you never would think it's you, because there was a lot of government workers that was saying that, hey, I never thought I would be in this food line, but here they are. So these are real people about to lose their food stamps. So about 42 million Americans monthly are using these food stamps. So good amount of people. The average benefit is roughly $350 per household. So I don't know. For some reason, I was thinking it's going to be like 1,000, but it's about $350 per household in many states. So that's the average. It's not as high as I thought it will be, but everyone's situation is different. $350 really, maybe it's just to supplement what they're already bringing in. Um, so yeah, so basically, how I see it is the bigger issue is not so much the government shutting down. It's really just people relying on the government to pay their basic necessities. That's never a position that you want to be in, where you're relying on the government for these SNAP benefits to send those external payments, and then when they stop, then all of a sudden it's just chaos. So that's not good. A little bit about SNAP. So it began to assist low income households to afford nutritious food. It's the largest U.S. nutrition assistance program. The participation is about 12 to 13% of the U.S. population receiving these SNAP benefits. Now, if you think about it, the previous wake up call with all this was going on, it's really COVID. COVID, when everything was shut down, a lot of people didn't have the income coming in, so they was relying on government assistance. And at that point, if you was in that position and you was feeling it, the you was really feeling the pinch, that should have been your wake up call to really say, you know what, I don't ever want to be in this situation again. What can I do so I can remove myself from that position? I need to build up my stack. I need to do something so that I never have to rely on the government again. That's the first one. A lot of people got those stimmy checks. What was it, like $1,300? I know we got like two or something like that. And what really can you do with $1,300, especially if you have a whole family? So, but a lot of people just spend it, and then you already know about the fraud, about the PPP loan. So a lot of people just spending money and weren't really thinking about the future of this happening again. So they find themselves in the same position they were back then, which is not a good one. Um, what you can say is the system that's just shutting down now, the SNAP benefits, is really exposing that uh, people's own internal structure of finances is weak, and we already know this. A lot of Americans, or a lot of people in this country, just don't have a savings account. At least, um, like no more than $400 they can cover for emergencies. It's really bad. Those statistics are out there, and I mean you can see why. America is the biggest consumer nation in the world. We consume a lot, and when we always consuming because we have the means to do it, lack of discipline is gonna occur, and that's just what happens to most people. So it's not just a crisis of funding from the government, or it being shut down. It's really just the personal structure, your own personal financial structure, on how you move through the day to day. Because if you're relying on the government, that's just a weakened position to be in. You don't want to solely depend on one pillar, which is the government, in order to sustain yourself. You need multiple pillars, but you already know this. This is just a reminder. But when it's happening now, it's just like shock value, where it's like, oh crap. Now what are you gonna do with it? Most likely you're gonna be okay. You're gonna get through the rough times. Uh, at the same time, you want to think about the future and just expect, you know what, this can happen again. Another shutdown can happen. It can happen every year. especially with how polarized politics are. The Democrats, Republicans always fighting. This can happen again. Let's just say it happens a year from now, next year from now, at the same time. Are you still going to be caught in the same position? If you are, then really shame on you, because you got to start thinking wisely and just say, you know what, I can't do this again. Especially if you have children, it is your responsibility to make sure it does not happen. You don't put those children through that because they have no choice, obviously, and they looking up to you for leadership, direction, and guidance and wisdom. And you got to make sure that, hey, you're not like fooling around with the money that comes in. So um, yeah, so even if the SNAP benefits do continue, then still you should be building up your savings. They always say 6 months to 12 months, or that's generally what you want to have. When you really think about it, if you lost your job, you at least have a good cushion to pay for stuff. I would say if you're not there, which is most people, just start with 1 month. Start with $500. Can you save that and have the discipline to save that? And then if you could do that, do 1,000, because most people don't have $1,000 in savings for an emergency. Those are the baby steps, and then you can start thinking about, okay, let me get to the month, and then 2 months, then 3 months, then a quarter or whatever. And once again, the way to understand, I mean, to see how much you need a month, you got to do your audit, and this is why I recommend do an audit. It's not a budget. A budget just tells you what it is, what already happened, part of it, and then also like just how much you can spend. Basically, I keep thinking of uh, the balance sheet. I keep thinking of the balance sheet, but your budget is just telling you how much you can spend in a certain category, which is important. But you need to backtrack and do that forensic audit on where's your money going, why is it going a certain way. Start with the 3 month, get the 3 month, and figure out how you can get to the next step. Anyways, so you don't want to be in a position where you're waiting for the government to open. Like, you got to do something. I think this is also an excellent position, or a very this is like a really critical position for churches and those type of organizations, mosques and stuff like that. They should be providing the food and stepping up to it. What I was hearing was that because of the government and the SNAP benefits, a lot of these religious organizations don't really have those food programs like they used to have like decades ago, because they just put the responsibility just went on the government, the federal government and the state government as well also contribute. So now this is just a moment in time where those churches, on every street corner, are they really helping? Let's see if they step up. And if they're struggling, if those places are struggling as far as with food themselves, then man, that's really a bad look, because they tax free. So it's like, what are you doing with all that money? So yeah. So, but anyways, to close it out, yeah, it's unfair. Many people, you're gonna feel the pain, and I'm not even trying to dismiss that, but at a certain point, you just think, okay, this stuff is going to happen all the time. There's been government shutdowns before in the past. It's going to happen again. So kind of like fast forward yourself to that critical point and just look to see, okay, what can you anticipate happening in the at that future time period, or that future time. And then just backtrack and be like, okay, this is what I'll do differently. I'll do this. This is like, think of COVID. Remember how COVID happened? Everything was shut down. People weren't making money like that unless it was like fraud or whatever. You know what I mean? And so you remember how your situation was back then. You're in this situation now. Fine. You're not prepared. You got caught slipping. It is what it is. Don't do it again. Like, you should be thinking, okay, I definitely can't have this happen again. Invest in yourself. Buy books. Look at programs, talk to people that seem to be financially stable no matter what's going on in the economy. Get some insight, get some ideas on how you can make sure you're positioning yourself so that you're always good. You don't want to always be reacting to outrage and things that happen. You should be proactive in what you do in life, and just take it at that. So if every crisis is feeling new to you, then it just means that you didn't learn from the last crisis. So you want to always be careful about that. Be diligent in where your money is going, how your life is, like your lifestyle. Take all that into account. Understand your spending habits, so that you just don't find yourself in a uneasy position like this. And it's also an embarrassing position when there's news cameras out at these food banks, and this the long line, and your face or your picture is in that line. It's like, it's just, yeah, obviously it doesn't feel good, but it is what it is. So I hope that helps for those of you that are in that position.